Can y'all hear?
And we'll have it up there.
Ready,
And good
ready.
afternoon, and welcome to season 5, episode 33 of the Leaders Only Digital Show and Podcast. I'm Samaj.
And I'm Kendall.
We're brought to you by What a Change Mentoring and Tone Drone TV. Today we'll be discussing a serious story that just popped up about JABARI Latrell Peoples. He's an 18-year-old young man that was killed in police-involved shooting. So please invite your friends to check out the Leaders Only show. Have a watch party, subscribe to our channel, share it, like it, hit the bell, comment below. And if you're watching the show after the live stream, then just go ahead and put the hashtag replay in the comments, just so we'll know that you were here supporting. Thank you for being here. How you feeling today, bro?
Another day, man. Blessed. Ready to roll, man. Can't complain. Hot, but you know how that go.
Yes, indeed, man. I'm hydrated, man. We just did the farmer's market. I ain't had no shirt on. I felt good, man. I'm energized out there getting charged up, while you see other people, man, they get beat up. They look like the sun is tearing them up. So, this is a testament to why, we change our diet, we clean up our diet, we prepare in the winter so we can enjoy this summer and it's not draining us and killing us. It's fueling us.
Yes, sir. I love that. I love that. Yes, sir. So, with that being said, June is also designated Alzheimer's and Brain Awareness Month. It aims to raise awareness about Alzheimer's disease, a progression brain disorder that causes memory loss, confusion, and other cognitive impairments. Healthy lifestyle habits such as regular exercise, a balanced diet, social engagement, and mental stimulation can help reduce the risk of cognitive decline and dementia. Early detection and intervention are also critical, enabling individuals to access the appropriate care and support sources sooner. Um, Man, I see a lot of people struggle with this. It's always what we practice and preach with my brother, with being a mental health and food healthy advocate. Um, that's why it's so important to eat right and try to prevent these things from happening before you even get into these stages. I'm glad that they do bring awareness to it because a lot of people in our um, background suffer from this disease. I think uh, it helps. It's a loss of memory too, and things of that nature. So yeah, man. I'm just glad to see that it is some acknowledgement on that. What you think,
Yeah,
bro?
man. Definitely shout out to Meet Us in the Trenches. Definitely appreciate you being here.
Yes,
How I feel about it, I never had a direct encounter with it, like with family member, but I have had friends and other people within the caregiver support community that I'm in with the Veterans Association. Um,
hmm
it's tough, to hear their stories, to see how people do lose their memory. They may not remember, certain family members. So it is tough. It's tough on the family member. I'm pretty sure it's tough on the actual person who's going through it because I'm sure that it has side effects, other than just not remembering certain things. There might be some mental health issues, some emotional issues that come with that, that when you do remember something where you probably try to catch it, and you lose it, or just to know that you're deteriorating. So that's why like you said, it's very important first to, change your diet, change your lifestyle, but then enhance it and be proactive with herbs like ginkgo biloba, like gotu kola, eating things in other powders and capsules like lion's mane mushroom is really good for your memory and protecting your brain. Uh, but you have also sports, and that's another thing and another reason why we do the mental health and high school sports and mental health is because those concussions and those head-to-head combat sports, getting punched in the head from boxing, it contributes, to Alzheimer's, you know what I mean, other, diseases like Parkinson's and stuff like that. So I'm pretty sure, that with, the right knowledge, with us even getting more knowledge, because like I said, I haven't had firsthand with it, but I get it secondary and third from other people, hearing other people's stories. And it's tough, because when you have emotional attachment, a lot of times it's our parent or our grandparent or somebody in that position, whether it be a great aunt or, just an elder statesman in a family who's played that role. So many of our aunts and uncles play the role of a parent when your parent is not around, that it just hurts. You know what I mean? When you try to have a conversation, or these people they're our first superheroes. So to see your superhero going through that, and like you said, like I say, not just not be able to reminisce, because that's what life. Another part of what life is about is creating memories. So when they can't even remember, it just hurts. So shout out to whoever's bringing the awareness to these months, whoever creates these months, because it is needed. All these months are big because they're communities that affect all of our communities, and whether it affects you or not personally, it's out there to educate you so you can prevent yourself from going through that. Yeah, Tone Drone said my dad was in Vietnam and Agent Orange. He is dealing with it. So there it goes. You know what I mean? 6 degrees of separation, and that would be somebody good to talk to. Tone Drone, being as though that is Alzheimer's month. I'll just pose a question to you, and you could put it down there. Some of the difficulties that your dad probably faces with that, because like myself and my brother, we're just speaking from secondary experience. But with that, be mindful. That there are things out here that enhance the mind. Number one thing is stop putting all that sugar on the brain and in the body, and those parasites that eat away at it. You know what I mean? Just try to do the best you can. And if you need any of those herbs, all of our information is always in the bottom of the ticker. Wherever you see mentalhealthchef.com, you can always get a consultation, and we can go over any and everything that you're dealing with. And we can go over any and every herb and every diet plan that goes with that, even down to we can go into getting into your diet by eating by your blood type, because all those things help, and they're all worth a try. You know what I mean? If you're willing to try pills and Western medicine, then you should be able to try some delicious cuisine um, that helps you. Juices,
Mm.
smoothies, salads, just raw food, and as well as cooked food. Because what we're trying to do is get the parasites from hanging around and lingering. Stop putting it in our body so we can have that alkaline body, as to where is nothing can attack our body. Be it mind, body, spirit. Nothing can attack us if you have it as pure as you can get it.
So, so, real true, real true, real true, Snap.
Before we get into our break, being as though we are speaking about that, last week, we had a panelist, and we were just speaking about, the beefs, and our show could have went on forever. So being as though that it is you and I, and we don't have a million topics today, but I just wanted to piggyback on having tough conversations with
Mm-hmm.
respect, so we can get to that finish line as a family. We spoke about it last week on how the beefs, how they trickle down and they carry over to the children, the next generation. Whether it be, you talk about each other around the children, so now they form an opinion based on yours, or you keep the children away from the other family members, so you can't have a village, and the village starts to deteriorate. Um, we this weekend, we were watching that movie Saw, Straw, and I'm not a Tyler Perry fan. I'll be the first to say it. I don't like what he does as far as the movies that he makes. I don't like what he does as far as depicting the male, um, in specific the so-called black male, and how he plays upon the triggers of the women's strife and the stuff that they've been through. And I experienced it firsthand because I seen how it triggers women, to cry, to go directly to their emotions because they've been through that stuff, and we're going through that stuff as far as the single mother, as far as the struggling, not making enough. And we're not getting these topics on this level, on this platform, as far as the brown skin, the
Right.
caramel, the dark brown, the dark skin, man and woman in the home, raising heterosexual children who don't want to be turned into little girls and little boys. They want to be with the Most High has created them to be, reading their Bibles, reading their this, reading their that, going above religion, getting in nature, also having financial literacy, combating the strife and all the stuff that we know we go through. You know what I mean? To me, it just hurts to see us on screen, and it do be true. But it's sad that that's all you can do, because we also have other truths. But the fact that you can do this and you can make hundreds of millions and billions of dollars off of these women, they're gonna have your back. But to me, it also triggers them, but it keeps it going, because just like that, think like a man. You're supposed to think like a woman. You know what I mean? You're supposed to be a woman. A man is supposed to be a man. Think like a man. And we're supposed to meet in the middle. You know what I mean? But I say that to say that these type of images and what we put in our front of our eyes, because your eyes are a portal, your ears are a portal, your is a portal, your mouth is a portal, as well as your private area. And what we put in them, it really determines how we feel. It changes our emotions, it changes our attitude, it changes our feelings. And what it does when you're amongst a group of people and you try to have serious conversation, that person that is triggered feels attacked, you know, and they feel defensive. And we cannot get to the finish line. And oftentimes, what it does is now puts another fence in front of us. No matter if both people are mad or every, all it takes is one person to put the fence up, and we can't get through the fence. We can't get through that wall. We have to start tearing these walls down with collective conversation and realize that we are not each other's enemy. That celebrity that you keep pushing up and putting on a pedestal and throwing your money to and throwing your energy behind is energy that you're wasting when you need to go have those conversations and face them so we can break those cycles. So we won't have my niece or, you know, our niece or our daughters, you know, or our cousins or our sons, you know, growing up here and keeping the cycle going for what's in these movies. That was one of the main reasons why I didn't even want to watch it, but I did have females in the household, you know, and we watched it, you know. But what I wanted to say was this stuff really, it triggers y'all, you know what I mean? And it reminds you, it's a constant reminder of where you are, you know what I mean? And we need some type of movies and some type of conversations that bring towards inspiration to get the heck out of where we at. We cannot keep putting band-aids on situations, but we don't have to be disrespectful to have a serious situation. And when we revisit a situation, you might have healed from it, but you have to allow that other person to speak about how they felt about it at the time. You know what I'm saying? A lot of times when the other person doesn't want to hear it, you know, we don't get it solved. But just because you're over it and just because you didn't think about it, there's more than just your feelings and your emotions, and especially on account of men. You know what I mean? I'll use us for example. There's things that I want to talk to mommy and daddy about. You know, not that I hate them, but I would want them to, I just want them to put my glasses on for a second, as well as they have other children, so they other children need this. You know what I'm saying? And as well as you, myself, Ashley, we need to have conversations to just get it out the way. My thing is, you know, I don't want to continue um, to have small um, differences
Mm-hmm.
blow up and turn into bombs. You know what I mean? And these little small things, like you should be able to tell your parent that, yo, you were depressed, you were sad, you were whatever at that time, but this is how I felt. This is
Right.
what it did to me. This is why I am the way I am, and I need you to stop being like that so I could stop being like that. But
Mm-hmm.
my niece, my future, my child, I gotta break that gene in my DNA, or I'm gonna just pass it on. And that's what I was trying to emphasize to mommy at the time. You know what I mean? We all wake up with that angry face. We got it from our grandma. You know what I mean? We all have those times where you're fighting, like, what the hell am I mad about? Or you go drifting. You go drifting in your mind, and you start thinking about certain things that you still ain't spoke about with this person or that person, and you should really be able to have those conversations just so we can get past this dysfunction. I'm just tired of once a serious conversation happens, it goes from everything was great, thinking you can have a conversation about something that ain't even about us. You know, that's another thing we have to do when we're speaking about the consensual. It's not for us to say, "Oh, I don't do that." You know what I mean? We man, look outside. It's not about I eat clean. I say we. I don't care if I eat clean. I don't care if I can fast. We're eating terrible as a collective. We eating
Right.
terrible. We listening to
Right.
the wrong stuff. You know what I mean? So we have to
Right.
stop being the exception to the rule and realize that we are all on the same team, no matter what religion you claiming, no matter what diet you have, no matter if you're handsome, no matter if you're, you know what I mean, attractive, no matter if you got a BBL, whatever. We are all suffering from the same type of things or connected to someone who is suffering from the same thing. So it would be best for us to have some serious conversations that we all can identify with, but you have to remove your feelings and your emotions from the point to where you can't control them, because it's not cool to blow up and forget about it, when somebody else still wants to get to the root of it. Just because you get mad, upset, and then say forget about it, don't mean that we don't still need to talk about this. This conversation needs to happen. And I'm tired of having it with God, and I'm tired of having it with a therapist when we use
Mhm.
words such as I love you. We tell
Right.
each other I love you. You know what I mean? We tell each other I would die for you. No, 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 no,
Right.
no. We got to die anyway. We should live for each other. A part of
Yeah.
me living is getting this pain off of me, getting this weight off of me. I want to get the weight off of me.
Right.
Just honest enough to say it, bro. You know what I mean? I want to be at peace. I want to lay down at night and it be all good. You know what I mean? I don't want to see a certain movie or hear a certain song and it trigger me and it take me and spiral. No, I want to have control over that. So I wanted to just emphasize and bring that home because last week, we spoke about it a little bit, but it just happened. I was just in the situation where these type of things happen, and you
Mhm.
can see it firsthand how a movie or what you watching or what you're listening to, or it can really, spring into either a positive thing or a negative thing. Most times in our community, it's a negative thing. Not about age; it's about whether you heal or not.
Definitely good.
Yes,
Yeah, listening to the program. That's Natalie.
yes,
Hmm. She right though. That's a fact. Right. And I totally agree with you, man, because yeah, we definitely experienced it firsthand, So that's why it's so easy for us to talk about it, man, because we get it. We've been dealing with it for the last 30 some years, man. And that's talking from our experience and our family.
yeah.
So I
And I
totally
was
agree.
just telling mommy, I was like, why not be the parent that heals? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
We Nobody's telling y'all to go back and erase the past, and nobody's telling you to relive the past. But we don't get a lot of parents still continue and get back to their dream or whatever their skill or their passion and their purpose. We got a lot of parents that pass away, and aunts and uncles and grandparents that pass away, and all only stories we have is they really kept this family together. You know what I mean? Or she really could cook that such and such. But it was never. Man, she was engulfed in her purpose, and she was da 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 da. You know what I mean? We got to make it better. You know what I mean? So it could be normal for young kids in our family to be like, nah, I'm not doing that because if I go do this with you, they'd be able to make that. And I'm 41 now, it would be cool to see. We don't got to harp on the crack era or remember when such and such, like you look through old pictures and stuff and you're like, oh man, such and such used to sell all them drugs. Like, where's the dope
Mm-hmm.
story that such and such had the 100 acres or that left us? You know what I mean? The reason why we growing peaches today is because of your grandfather. You know what I mean? He started putting them peaches down there. He got that land. Man, we got peach jam. We do peach cobbler. We do, you know what I mean? Just little stuff like that, just to change the conversation.
Right. That's a fact. Yeah. Yep. So we see you, man. To thrive. That's what we thriving for, man.
Yeah. So, like I said, man, we wanted to just like I had that on my heart because I know there are people who are healing, who are trying to pass the healing on, and the only way you actually heal is to face the pain, face the fear, face the baggage. You know what I mean? The only way you can fly is to get the baggage off. And we have to stop pushing everybody to therapy because everybody's not mentally messed up. You know,
Right.
some of us, really just want to have some influential and substantial conversations that get us past certain issues. You know what I mean? Like you can love somebody to life, right? But it could be this little thing that I want to talk to you about that you did to me. I don't hate you. I don't love you no less. But I do want you to know I was aware of this. You know what I mean? I was aware when you did this, and I was aware, and that's what keeps me feeling a certain type of way because you never apologized about this, or you never told me I love you enough. I need a phone call every week, to say I love you. You know what I mean? That's because that's why I go through relationships, or that's why I do, because I just want somebody to say I love you, somebody to say, yo, I'm glad you're breathing, somebody to say, yo, thank you, for being there, for helping me, and not just acting like it's something that's supposed to be done. You know what I mean? Because we don't give that enough. So small things like that can change the outcome and change the landscape of where you're going as an individual, and then where you're going as a family. You know what I'm saying? So I encourage people, man. Just like we do everything else, we check the details. Check the details, the little small, minor little details that you can fix, you know what I mean, that mean the world to you. Let's just stop passing the word on I love you, or using verbal warfare when you get upset. And let's start acting it out. If you really love me, and if you really love one another, and if you really upset, no matter how mad you are, you should be able to talk. You should be able. You should not turn a person you love into a stranger on the street because you're upset. You know what I'm saying?
Totally,
So
totally agree. Yes,
yeah, man.
sir.
So you know what I mean? We definitely want to continue to encourage you all to be the best that you can be physically, mentally, emotionally. It is hot. It's really hot across the United States. It's summertime. This is what we love. This is, because we be crying in the winter. But I need you to eat right, sleep right, meditate, and hydrate, hydrate, hydrate. You must hydrate. I was just telling a group of people the other day, you have to think of yourself like a plant. That's why we have our hair that fall like palms on a palm tree. Um, the leaves on a palm tree. But if you're hydrated, that sun is going to electrify you. It's just like a plant. When a plant has water, it can exercise photosynthesis, it can get its food, and it can grow. We can do the same thing. It could charge our hair, that could charge our bodies, especially if you keep copper on your body. So, and you can either get beat up by the sun with toxins in your body, or you can get electrified by putting that alkaline in your body. Just be mindful. You know what I mean?
Mm.
If you are going through anything that it is an emergency number, and all you have to do is hit 988. You can call it, you can text it. Don't hesitate if you're struggling. You know what I mean? Just please, please, please keep that in mind. And also keep in mind that theallwhite.com is still active. We want you to get the information, have more information coming this week. Also, have some information coming about homecoming very soon. Yeah, we're going to move right forward to our next story, bro. You want to do that?
Let's do it. We were denied basic dignity. Family of Jabari Latrell Peoples. Then the teen killed by Homewood police officer released a statement. On the night of June 23rd, 2025, at approximately 9:30 p.m., our loved one, Jabari Latrell Peoples, was shot and killed by an officer affiliated with the law enforcement in Homewood, Alabama, near Lakeshore Boulevard. At no point were we notified by law enforcement or medical personnel. Instead, our family was contacted by the Jefferson County uh, coroner's and office at 10 a.m. the following morning, over 12 hours after Jabari was pronounced dead. By the time we were contacted, his body had already been transported, and autopsy had been conducted without our knowledge or consent, and we were instructed to send a funeral home to retrieve him. And we were denied the right to identify him. We were denied the right to be present. We were denied basic dignity. Let's watch this video. We'll come back.
Family of 18-year-old Jabari Peoples, who was shot and killed by Homewood police on Monday, says they're still waiting for a phone call from investigators.
Their attorney says the way police have handled this case and the lack of transparency is raising even more questions. Your reporter James Giles is live tonight after speaking 101 with the family's attorney. And James, there is a lot this family is struggling to understand, especially the fact that they claim they were not notified Jabari Peoples had died until the next day.
Yeah, Brittany, Steve, this is a call none of us want to receive as parents. But Jabari Peoples' family says it's especially painful because that call came hours after he was already gone.
The father was watching TV and saw that a young man had been gunned down in Homewood, and he thought, boy, that's just unfortunate. That's a sad thing. He had no idea that they were talking about his own son.
Questions are still swirling around about what exactly happened Monday night during the officer-involved shooting in Homewood that killed Jabari Peoples, an 18-year-old from Aliceville. It wasn't until the next day that his family even knew he was gone. And by then, they say an autopsy had already been done.
I would say it's completely inappropriate. It's completely atypical for a victim like this to be shot, to be killed, and his closest of kin not even be asked to come identify the body. His mother, his father, they didn't identify him before he had an autopsy done or before he was moved to a funeral home. They didn't see him at all.
The family wants to see the body camera footage. 3 days later, they're still waiting. The law in Alabama allows families to see police body camera footage in cases like this, but it doesn't say when or how much of the video they can see.
We've done everything possible and everything Aaliyah has asked us to view this footage now, to view it immediately, and they won't even do us the consideration of giving us a timetable of when we can watch the video.
Right now, Aaliyah is leading the investigation. We asked when the family will be allowed to see the video. They say they will not be releasing any additional details at this time. We also contacted Homewood Police Department again about the video. They didn't respond. But in a previous statement, they say they're working with the family and Aaliyah to set up a time to view the body cam footage. But Maxwell calls that a facade and says the communication has been minimal.
If this video shows what we think it's going to show, then Homewood and law enforcement need to be prepared to take accountability for it.
And the accusation of the officer smelling marijuana near people's car?
All those things may be true, but it doesn't lead to death, all right? If you do something like that, it's a fine. If that was a young white man, you know, in a baseball t-shirt or something, being pulled up on by officers, I think he's probably still alive today.
And Maxwell says Peoples' girlfriend, who was in the car with him that night, told the family that Peoples never had a gun, nor did he resist, despite what police say. Your reporter in Homewood, James Giles, WBRC 6 News, on your side.
Yeah, just messed up, man. Not surprising, but messed up. You know, typical, same type of story. I hate that they always pull in the race card, man. It's wrong all the way around the board. How I feel about it, kind of confused. There's a lot of questions that go with this. But like they said, like just the points of it, like marijuana don't lead to death. That's a simple ticket. The crazy part is by them not notifying none of his parents or anything, because it's obvious that he lived at home, so he was going to be going back home. Not calling his parents crazy, man. That's just weird. What are they trying to hide? Is what I think from my mind. What are they trying to hide? Why they ain't get the motion of the discovery of the body cam yet? It's no violent act on his behalf if the witness is there. Yeah, what was the point of you shooting? Like, if somebody, the witness don't mean nothing no more. Yeah, it's just crazy. It's a weird story. And I just want to send my condolences out to the families of the victim, of the witness family as well, because she's going to be suffering too. It's just crazy. It's crazy, man. It's another weird story.
Yeah, I totally agree. Definitely send my condolences out to that young man, especially to his family. I pray for their strength. I pray for justice. You know what I mean? That they get some type of way. I know this is one of them things, you know, where a lot of times people say, you know, you got to sue. You know, we got to sue. We got to sue each and every officer individually. But even if and when you win, you know, it doesn't bring back the life of, you know, a priceless young man who was prospering, you know, who had a future in front of him. It always leads me back to, you know, getting our identity, going to figure out what your bloodline is, because the only time you really see this and the only time you really hear this is when it's a so-called black individual. Pretty sure that during the encounter, he probably was a nigga, just another nigga to them. And that sucks because there could have been 1 out of 4 one out of eight, however many cops were on the scene, who was, a good cop. You know what I mean? Or it could have been vice versa. You could have seven, but one fly the handle, and they're gonna stick together. You know what I mean? And that's what it seems like. Until we get the body cam, until we get more information. Um, it being Homewood, Alabama, it makes me think of sundown town. It makes me think of, kind of like slavery times. You know what I mean? And it sucks. You know what I'm saying? Because when we were coming up, they would show those type of movies in school, um, or show like Roots and stuff like that. But you hear about Emmett Till, and it's like, man, this is just like the 2025 version, and the list just goes on. And I always revert back to, we teach people how to treat us. You know what I'm saying? We taught them everything else in terms of these people. You know what I mean? We taught them how to bathe. We taught them math. We taught them, how to sail the oceans. We got to teach these people how to respect us. You know what I mean? We beyond the time, but we have to start respecting one another so we can teach people how to respect us, but have a ceasefire on one another. So then, when somebody is doing this to us, we can jump out there in unison. You know what I mean? It's always easy to get one of us, but it's hard to get a whole community. It's hard to get the whole state. It's hard to get the whole region. It's hard to get the whole half of the country. You know what I mean? It's hard to get the whole country, and we ain't standing for it no more. We have, they always do these numbers, and there's always between 30 to 40 million of us here. It should be no young man being gunned down in the street. You know what I'm saying? There should be no young man being gunned down in the streets at the hands of somebody who is to funded. You know what I mean? So on the legal side, you do have to sue every individual. You have to sue the department as well. They have to get those body cams and pray that they're not doctored. Um, but whether he had a gun, they have laws, or they have codes for that, statutes for that. That, if you don't have a license, I'm sure that, the state does whatever, but that just carries jail time and not a casket. Or if he had marijuana, that just might carry a ticket or jail time and not a casket. We don't need any more of our young men out here dying at the hands of violence, whether it be self hate, or whether it be at the hands of another person who hates themselves just as much because they're just as ignorant as we are, and they're just working a job. And that's why I always say that there should be some type of mental health examination in these type of jobs. There should be some type of history and background checking. You know what I mean? They might even need to start putting the police and these type of positions might need to go to court. You know what I mean? There might need to be a jury in the hiring process. There might need to be a polygraph test. You know what I mean? When you ask them straight up, are you racist? If you were put in this situation, would you kill you? We need them answers. And that might be the reason why you don't get in. You know what I mean? Sorry. There's other fields for you, but everybody don't get a trophy. And that's what I'm tired of anyway, because everybody got somebody to fight for them, but we don't. You know what I mean? And the people that's supposed to fight for us is us. And we at war with ourselves individually, and it's bleeding over to having war with one another. And if you're at war with yourself, it's easy for your enemy to attack you. You know what I mean? It's easy for somebody who's supposed to be there to protect you to wipe you out. And what it's gonna be? It's gonna be us up here talking about it. It's gonna be Roland Martin probably talking about it. A couple more people talking about it. It's gonna be some pray for, say his name, some hashtags, but it ain't gonna be no more ceasefires across our communities. It ain't gonna be no more. Yo, we gotta put an end to this, yo. I'm not doing it. There ain't gonna be no more like moms really sitting there. And although you don't deal with the dad on that level, having a realistic conversation, and fathers stepping up, and although you don't want to deal with the mother, but it clicking and saying, man, I can't have this happen to my son. I can't have this happen to my daughter. I don't care what you say, Sharisha. I don't care what you talking about, Kenneth. But it's for him. It's for her. If we can't talk, we need a mediator. Mediator, write down what I got to say. Read this. Because that's what love look like. Love look like at any cost, I'm gonna do all the things and not just violence. Oh, I'll kill somebody by my kid, but you won't heal for your kid. You won't put a beef to the side for your kid. Look, drop your pride, your ego for your kid. Change your diet for your kid. Start
Yeah.
saving for your kid. You know what I'm saying? Talk to somebody. Pass your kid off to somebody that can help you raise your kid, because
Right.
your kid, whether you let us help and let the village help or not, it's the village who has to deal with your kid, be it good or bad. You know what I mean? Be it chastising, be it having to protect. But like we talked about a couple weeks ago, it could be a cop, it could be an elder. You know what I mean? You don't know who gonna say what. So what? So maybe he got smart with you. In terms of what you think was smart. You know what I'm saying? Or maybe he was disrespect. Who knows? Only thing I'm saying is when you take these positions and you're in these positions of power and you're grown, okay, take all the titles away. You're older. You should be more healed to just control your emotions. These are clear depictions that none of us was there. We ain't seen no footage or nothing, but let's just say, for the sake of saying, that emotions were riled up. This is a high emotion situation. Somebody has to be a little bit more emotionally intelligent than the other person. If we both, because you can't have two people going at it. You know what I mean? Then if you got everybody around the two people going at it and their emotions in disarray, well, this is what's gonna happen. A gun gonna go off by accident, or a gun gonna go off because somebody's so mad and they can make it look like an accident, or you know what I mean? This is the type of stuff. And then when you really sit down and play it back, no matter what, no matter how good they can cover up, no matter what they can do, you're gonna have you got a spiritual karma on you, bro. You know what I mean? You gotta eat that. You're gonna have to pay for that. So that's how I feel. I pray, on this surface that they get their justice or whatever, but I pray that he gets his spiritual judgment, as well as I pray that he can do some type of repenting, you know what I mean? And when he's in prison forever, that he can, be honest, heal, and go help save another, Caucasian's life, and another cop that feel that way life. You know what I mean? Because I don't be feeling like none of these things be by coincidence. So it's happened. So something good needs to come from it. You know what I mean? And I would pray that police station, for future reference on their hiring process, that they start going through, whether no matter the what, you know what I mean? Because we know that there's a bigger picture. We're not gonna play like it's not an agenda on us. We're not gonna pray like somewhere somebody's saying that's one up for them. We're not gonna act like that. And that's why we have to be more proactive, so we don't give these chances. You know what I mean? Something like that happened, we got a protocol. You pulled over,
Yeah.
hold on. Don't pull your phone out just to pull your phone out. Hold on, they got a young man. There's a young brother out there. This is across the United States. This is across the country. You know what I mean? Period. Any community, when it come down to our people, we should have some type of codes like that. Like, yo, we go out. It has to be at least 10 to 20 people. Like, there need to be, like, we wrote our own laws type deal. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, yo, no less than 10 people on every pullover, every traffic stop. I don't care. You're gonna have to lay
You need
everybody down out here. And
Yeah.
if you got the right, and right up under it, you must have your license to carry. So 10 people with license to carry, boom. The other 10 is for witness, boom. The other any officials we got, we must have officials living in our community. This is why we have to be on local legislation and stuff. You know what I'm saying? But this is why we supposed to be sticking together to take our land back. You know what I mean? To where we got everything set up. You know what I mean? In this imposition, being as though we're not. And I ain't on no radical crazy like that. But I just wish that we would listen to the Most High, because He gave us this. You know what I mean? And that we took care of it. You know what I mean? We took care of one another. Being as though we don't. Maybe in the next book I'll write it this way. You know what I'm saying? Because that's why I write. Because you can make it perfect. So in a perfect world, we would go out there 10 to 20. It'd be mandated 10 to 20 every time somebody pulled over. We just out here. You got guns, we got guns too. Then after that, you know what I'm saying? We move forward. Mothers have to go out there. Any teachers, any doctors, any people that's in the government officials, you must go out there. It's a
Yeah.
given. You have to. You know what I'm saying? And that's just trying to proactively think, because I don't want to continue saying the same thing like, yo, just pray for this young man. Just, you know what I mean? He'd be a post, and then it turns into somebody else in 2 more days.
Yeah. And the importance, man, like I just want to highlight one thing about this situation and why it's important for us to keep saying Jabari's name and being acknowledged in this situation because Alabama holds a law where they don't have to release nothing to the public. So,
Hmm.
like, they're gonna try to keep it a secret long as they can, man. So you're gonna have to, we're gonna have to really pay attention to the court systems and how this case is gonna be about because they're gonna try to hide it no matter what because something went wrong in that situation, and they're wrong. They're wrong for
Yep.
killing that young
And you
man.
know what? It's dope that you said that, because we do have, we'll put it in our bio that we're part of this fraternity sorority. We'll put it that we
Yeah,
are part of this legal situation and we're part of this firm. And we do all these things that have titles, but we need y'all to educate us. You know, everybody's
yeah,
not going through and reading these indictments, you know, so you can't be
right,
mad at an ignorant mind for seeing a headline and going with it. That's
yeah,
your field. You can
yeah,
read through a docket. You know, my field is I'll read through some herbs. I'll find, everybody got to start doing their part. You know what I mean? Bigger than just paying for your bills and making money. You know what I mean? We need
yeah,
to start educating one another so we can be hip. You know what I mean? Like, you got celebrities that jump on board and they take over our mind. You know what I mean? They got the popularity, so they can tell you something, and it can be, most of the times it be wrong, or it be for the wrong cause because it's agenda based. But if we have
right,
somebody that does, if every person in our community did their thing, you know what I mean, be teaching whatever you teach. Some people we do. We need men who, we need janitors, we need mechanics, we need men who got garages, teaching young
yeah,
men how to fix cars, because it's a skill that can go forever. You know what I mean? We need people who know how to do coding, gardening, all of this type of stuff. But what we have to stop doing is saying, getting the knowledge and saying, man, pay me $1,500 for a class, or I
yeah,
ain't telling nobody nothing. Like, bro, damn, we ain't gonna get nowhere. You know, we already at the bottom. What's the point in, overpricing and overdoing this? I do believe that people should be paid for their time, but
yeah.
don't look at success and turn into a European. That's the only thing I'm saying. You know what I mean? Take the success that the Most High gave you. Always be ways.
Yeah.
That's why it's okay to open your hands. That way you can give and you can receive. You're gonna be
Yes,
fine.
sir.
You know what I mean? It's been proven. You know what I'm saying? So, with that, I will always say, rest in peace, young man. You know, your spirit is here. You know what I mean? You're already in the spirit. You're already in the soul, on the soul plane. So do work. Do work. See, that's the thing
Yeah,
about us. We're not just humans. So he's gonna have to pay for that. He's gonna
yes,
have to
sir.
pay for that. To me, success is living in purpose, living in truth, living in you, figuring out who you are, not who somebody told you to be, not going around this person and acting this way around this group of people, that, but rising to your highest self. That's success to me. You know what I mean?
And
Um,
to me,
being able,
I,
go
I
ahead,
really
man, but being able to wake up and get paid off of your skills too.
Yeah, that's a fact. Because I can't answer that question because I'm still on the journey of searching. I still search for my purpose every day, man. But I know that I'm living in it in some way and somehow because I'm getting better. Um, I'm building. I'm starting to see that certain things just don't matter to me. I'm starting to
Hmm.
keep my mouth closed a little more, learning how to say no a little more, just a little more to the things that don't mean me no good, you know. But other than that, I'm blessed. So I feel like I'm on a success path. I
Yeah.
probably reach it. Yeah,
Yeah, and then I also measure my success on how many people can you touch. You know what I mean? Like I say, when people leave here, I don't do a bunch of crying and stuff because I gave them all of me. And when I go, I don't want people to be doing a bunch of crying. You know what I'm saying? Because they're gonna have a bunch of story. Like I look out, I do what I'm supposed to do as a child of the Most High. You know what I'm saying? I do that much, and I'm getting more and more into it, and giving. You know, success to me is getting so much so you can give without feeling empty. You know what I mean? So that's why I'm trying to fill up my cup as much as possible. So when I give, it don't break me, um, mentally, spiritually, physically, emotionally, and financially. You know what I'm saying? But above all, realizing that you're here for a purpose and living that out. To me, that's the ultimate success. You know what I'm saying? Then being able to inspire drive and motivate others to do the same thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And all in a righteous way. You know what I mean? There's tons of ways that people influence. There's tons of leaders out here. Don't mean we're going in the right direction. So, um, yeah, man, that's big. You know, to me, and beating the odds. Like we already a part of tremendous success stories because we beat the odds. Go look at the statistics. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Go look at statistics. So that's the part of success, beating the statistics. Beating the
Mhm.
stereotypes. Um, but ultimately connecting back to who you really were. You were already perfect before you got here. You already did stuff, and it's about finding out who you were before you got here and getting back to that. You perfect. You perfect. You gotta get this. You gotta get this tension off of us. Uh, but we perfect underneath all of this. So we gotta get back there.
David Davis said, follow progress of the spirit, not material possession, leaving a legacy for generations to come. That's success.
Yes,
I love that, man. That's dope. That's dope. That's real dope. That's true. That's a true statement,
I
man.
agree. I definitely
Totally
agree.
agree.
So
We appreciate you, man. Every show, man, you've been sticking it in with us, man, rocking out. And we appreciate you,
yes.
man, putting input into the show, man. That just makes it better.
Yes, and everybody who commented and everything, man, continue to do so. In closing, this is the Leaders Only digital show and podcast. It's live streamed every Monday at 2 p.m. Eastern. We appreciate everybody that was here today that joined us for season 5, episode 33. As I said, we're about to get this count on these episodes, and we're about to be done with the seasons and about to be just getting this thing better so we can continue to go and bring better and better stories and better locations, and just keep it fun. We hope you
Yeah.
enjoyed the show, and we look forward to you joining us next week. Let us know what we can bring to the table, what interests you, and we'll bring you just that. You can always email us at leadersonly22@gmail.com. We're brought to you by What a Change Mentoring and Tone Drone. I am Samaj.
Kendall.
We definitely would love to hear from you, and we'll see you next week at the same time, same place. Also, be on the lookout for another pop up panel in July. We are working on finalizing the date now, but high school sports and mental health. We will continue to do that. So, if you have any coaches out there, any former athletes, any current professional athletes, any high school athletes, or college athletes that are going through it right now, that can share their story and give us some game on the mental health side, please, 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 please reach out. It's an open panel.
Yeah, definitely, man. It's a dope panel, man. Till then, we'll see y'all next week. Peace.
Yes, indeed.